You know, everywhere we go, we hear horror stories of people who have had their identity stolen and their credit card and their credit overall damaged. Today, we have our resident money and life skills coach, Steve Diggs, with some tips for avoiding becoming an identity theft victim.
Easy for you to say.
I know. I mentioned that a minute ago about the internet. Is that where that usually happens if people use their credit card on the internet? Is that the number one?
It happens on occasion, but you know, Charlie, the thing about it is most identity theft doesn't happen the way we think it does. We see these movies and these high-tech spy things where people seem to be getting into the systems and all, but a lot of the identity theft that happens really is very, very low-tech. The identity thieves out there don't get their jobs because they're smart. They get them because they just are criminal, and a lot of this stuff is stuff we can avoid.
Now, I've always heard that your Social Security number is the key to a lot of theft.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
It really can be. Your Social Security number is something that we really, really do need to protect.
Okay.
That means we don't put it out there. I still see people all the time that put their credit card or their Social Security numbers on their credit cards. They'll sometimes put them on their driver's license.
Yeah, you don't do it on your driver's license. I've heard people say they were checking out and showing the driver's license, and somebody behind them could actually see that, on their driver's license and remember and write it down.
And I'll tell you the dumbest thing of all is to see people put their Social Security number on their check accounts.
Ooh.
And people still do that, and it's not smart because you give them your address, your name and everything.
Yeah,
no, it's not necessary. Okay. Absolutely not. And I'll tell you, there's a second thing that I like to encourage people to watch out for when it comes to their identity, and that's to watch your credit cards themselves. Be careful not to let them get out of your sight very long at a time. For instance, when you go into a restaurant, think hard before you give that card to some kid that's going to run around the corner and carry that thing off for 2 or 3 minutes. You need to think about that because all they have to do is get the number on the front, flip it over, get that little 3-digit number in the back, the security number, and they've got everything they need.
Yeah, you know, we heard a story not too long ago where a young lady had put additional tip money on there. See, I think you need to probably, as a backup, go online too, check your account and see what's been charged.
Exactly.
And if something's red flag, go for it.
Give it a call immediately. And a third thing I would tell people to do is this. Okay. More and more restaurants are getting to the point, and businesses are, when they give you your receipt, they've blanked out your credit card number.
Not all of them have, though.
That's exactly right. And when you need to look at the receipt that the restaurant's going to keep, if they've got your full number on that, it's probably a smart idea to just take your pen as you sign it and mark out all of those numbers except for the last 4 on the right. They don't need
You mean while you're signing?
While you're signing it, they don't need those numbers.
Just leave the last 4.
Just leave the last 4. That'll give them some information if they need it to ID who you are if they ever needed to.
I never thought about that.
But those other numbers are the same numbers that some $6 an hour kid can copy over and use later if they want to.
Okay, now tell me this. If you have that receipt and you get your copy of the receipt and you see your number still spelled out there, you can't just throw it in the trash because that becomes
fodder for other things.
Anybody can pick it up out of your trash.
Exactly, and that's another thing. The fourth thing that I encourage people to do is just get yourself a cheap shredding machine. Now, I say it a cheap one. The more expensive machines are even better. But the important thing is this. Don't just take your mail and throw it in the trash without putting it through a shredder.
You can get one $30-40, can't you?
You can, and run your bills through that. And the credit card offers that we get, don't throw those things away without shredding them. You know,
really?
It's people all the time do this. They'll grab somebody's credit card offering, send it in. Sometimes they can get a card issued. They give you, they turn in a different address, and the bills are coming to that address for a few months, and you're getting into a credit card mess. Now, the credit card companies will protect you in most cases from over $50, but it's a hassle, and we can avoid that with a paper shredder.
I'll tell you what, next week, let's talk more about how to know you are a victim, because you could probably be a victim for months and not know about it.
Exactly.
We can get into a whole different topic here. You know?
Well, people do that, and there's some ways to avoid some of that, some important ways. Let me just share one fifth thing that I think is really important, and that is don't put steal me signs up around when you're paying your bills. And I call those little red flags on our mailboxes steal me signs. Those are the signs where we're telling everybody, not just the mailman, but everybody in the neighborhood, hey, we've got mail in this box. And when you've got mail in your box, it tells bad guys that those could be bills. I recommend not putting up the red signs, but more importantly, just taking your bills to the post office and mailing them. That way, they're not sitting out there at the street for several hours.
Take them to work with you or something.
Take them to work and mail them someplace that's more secure.
Does that happen a lot?
It happens all the time, and those low-tech identity theft things that happen are really a high percentage, arguably the highest percentage of the ID theft things that go on.
Okay, what do you want to do next week? You want to pursue that,
Yeah.
how to know if you're a victim, and
Let's do that.
you
Let's
may
talk.
not even know it.
Let's talk next week a little bit about what to do if you've been hit with identity theft.
Okay.
What are the first steps that we should follow to try to sort through that mess?
Sure, and how to discover it, okay?
Is that good?
All right, how to get in touch with this man? Simple. SteveDiggs.com. No sweat, no debt.
Or no debt, no sweat.
Same thing. Good to see you, my man.
Hey, good to be
See you
with you,
next
bud.
time.